Okay, Thomas.
Okay.
Let's talk about your book. So, what
Yeah.
exactly is the code?
The code is something very unusual and special, and it's a piece of knowledge that my wife has grown up with. She's from a mountain farmers family in Austria, and her grandfather was what you would call in these parts a shaman or a healer. He was a very special person, and by the way, if you like, just minutes before we started, I got the idea to show you a picture of him because
Absolutely.
he's yeah, okay, have a look.
Oh wow.
You can see it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
That's the guy, and he from the 10 siblings in this family of my wife Johanna, he picked her to pass on all his knowledge, and that's what we did during the last 30 years because my wife started to lecture on this knowledge, and in 1991 the first book came out because there was nothing in writing on the subject that she talked about. So and she was swamped with invitations to lecture all over Europe, so she looked for somebody like me to help her put that into writing. And our 10th book was The Code. And for some strange reason, Simon & Schuster decided that this may be, for the American audience, the most interesting book. And to make it short, the knowledge contained in the code is something very simple. These farmers, they knew by the numbers in the birth date of a child, they knew what the basic talents were of that child, and they supported it from day one in that direction. It was a knowledge of some kind of self-defense, because the farmers all over the world, they're always the last ones in the social ladder, so to speak. So they had to preserve tidbits of knowledge that helped them survive in more ways than one. Not only about timing, when to sow and when to harvest, but also stuff like that. And you may have heard that it was usual in all over the world when a farm is being passed on from one generation to the next, usually the eldest son gets it.
Right.
Not in this case. The people who had that knowledge, they sometimes waited until the youngest daughter was old enough to get it. And we had quite a few cases with the people who we talked with, who had long conversations, whom we counseled, where exactly that happened. That the farmer then passed on his farm to a middle or younger daughter because he realized she's the one. So basically, we passed on this knowledge about how to see from your own birth date what you are sort of almost meant for in life. But not only that, it also shows you how to understand better your own children. In my case, it was super striking because my children are extremely different. They are from 3 different planets almost. And but it also helps you understand colleagues better. It helps you understand your parents better. And I think that's the real value of this book, to provide a lubricant, as it were, in social life.
Yeah, I know my wife and I read the book and we did our charts, and what's curious is what I'm missing, which is north and center, she exactly has, and what she's missing, I exactly have. And it seems like we do that in life. We cover each other's, I don't want to call them weak points, but you can't focus on everything. And we're bound to have places where we're not as strong as in another place. And we exactly match in our relationship, our business, and everything.
That brings a very interesting question that we are asked quite often. How do the numbers, this code, how does it help in matching, in finding the right partner? And it's very interesting to see that many people tend to look in the beginning. They tend to look for the same structure. It's as if they look for the echo, and also they share common interests when they have the same numbers, and they get along very well in the beginning. But after a while, after years and years, there is a little higher danger of sliding into a state of mutual boredom, as it were.
Right.
That happens. But the thing is, the older people get, the more they realize that indifference is power. So then they start to tend to drift towards people who have, just in your case, the numbers that complement each other. And that sometimes is a little bit more difficult in the beginning, but over time it makes for a complete picture, because what keeps, in my experience, what keeps couples together invariably is a common goal. It's not sameness, it's not children, it's not money, it's this all doesn't provide a solid foundation. What provides a foundation is development, movement, togetherness towards something. So it's as if you take each other by the hand and move forward. And in that case, to have different codes, to have different numbers and come from very different planets, as it were, that helps a lot.
So can you tell me what is your common goal with Joanna?
That's a very good question. Very rarely somebody asks us that. The thing is, Johanna and I, what brought us together is something that all our books, the work that we do, you can read it directly, but more often between the lines. I see our job as trying to help the reader wean himself from dependency. Now, this is the basic sentence how I could describe it. Then you can ask, what kind of dependencies? All of them. And there are so many. We want to help a reader to slowly gather the courage to become a self-responsible person. And for that, we have quite a bit to offer. Beginning from helping somebody lose weight and detoxify, to helping someone, like for example in this now 10th book, The Code, to discover dreams that he had when he was a child, and that he may have or she have forgotten over time because of whatever, because of the zeitgeist, because of the parents, peers, peer pressure, media, and so on and so forth, because of all the ersatz satisfactions that are being offered today from every poster on every wall. So our work is to help stand on your own feet, mentally, spiritually, and physically. That's it.
This is going to become increasingly important as time goes on, because a lot of our support organizations are breaking down.
Yeah,
and I
noticed.
think as we realize that this feeling of entitlement, especially in America, we have this feeling of entitlement. Just because we should get things. And I think as all these systems break down, I can already see a trend towards people looking back towards indigenous knowledge, and knowledge that was more connected with the earth, with the Gaia, with the energy, especially female matriarchal energy.
Oh, yeah.
And I think this is a sign of the times, and it's a good sign, although the transition might be a little rough for people hanging on to old paradigms, especially in America. We are so, left brain, and I think that's one of the things that this book really helps with, because it overlaps left brain and right brain. There is a system here that you can understand with your mind, but there's feelings that are evoked when you do it. Aha, like these feelings of,
So you noticed.
Yeah, we noticed heavily.
Yeah, it's exactly what we wanted to do. We want to convey, first we want to help people see what they may have swept under the rug when they were very young, and act as a kind of a memory prop. But at the same time, we want to convey a feeling. We want to bring back to a feeling of, well, there must be more, and there is more, and I have a soul, and my soul has to be developed, and not my muscles initially, or my account, the figures on my account. That doesn't make anyone happy in the long run. And so you are one of our readers, so to speak.
Yep, so to speak.
Yeah.
You know, I get the feeling that this knowledge has been kept secret for quite a while.
Oh,
but why is it that it's you have a feeling that it should come out now?
It's been kept secret for a long time, and it's been even kept secret from me. I was living with Johanna for about, I can't say exactly anymore, about 8 or 10 years must have been, before I realized that she knows something about those numbers. In her family, this knowledge was lived in silence. It was practiced from day one, and it was hardly ever spoken about. And in her case, the reason was the influence of the Catholic Church. The Catholic Church in Austria and Tyrol especially is still a very prominent, almost violent factor in everyday life. All people are against that pressure, but they succumb to it. It's for the children and so on. So if they would have come out into the open with this knowledge, they most definitely would have been shunned in the community. And there's a very small community, a very small village. Now, why we come out now? I think we did everything with everything we wrote, and also in the sequence and in the distance between one book and the next. There was always 2 or 3 years in between. We came out only by our own gut feeling, the intuition telling us now it's time. Our first book was called Vom richtigen Zeitpunkt in German, and it's been translated faithfully into English by Random House UK. It was called The Art of Timing. And one journalist said, when he heard that we sold like 10 million copies of that book, he said, well, small wonder, since you are experts in timing, you must also know the timing of publishing that book. And well, still, it's not a calculating thought that we had behind it, but more or less intuitive feeling.
Yeah,
we knew,
not to mention the fact that it's safe to come out with this kind of information now. I recently wrote a book on belief systems, the neurological and social consequences of organized religious belief systems, nationalistic belief systems. And there was a time, even 300 years ago, where I would have undoubtedly been burned at the stake for some of the
definitely.
things. Yeah, so it's nice to have some expressive freedom in today's world, and I think it's really important to take advantage of this window, because I can see a day coming where that window would close up if we don't take advantage of this.
I agree wholeheartedly, and also if I look at our time, and if I look the possibility that today you can get like any piece of information necessary to really to move forward by yourself towards developing every possibility that you have in yourself, towards enlightenment, as it were. At the same time, the being swamped with fake information,